Welcome, Clemens. It's lovely to have you. Thank you so much, and we're looking forward to your event.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Ayat and Wissam. It's such a great pleasure to be here. I'm super excited. I would like to thank for starters. I would like to thank everyone for joining. It's amazing to have you tonight. So I am Clem, Coach Clem, or Clemens Fabian. That's my full name, and I'm a certified coach. And tonight I'm going to be talking to you about the entrepreneurial mindset, a topic that's really important to me, really rich to my heart. So tonight we're going to be talking about different themes. So this is a little bit of the plan of how the organization is going to look like. So I'm going to be starting with myth busting, doing a little bit of myth busting, something I like to do. Then moving on, some definitions I think are quite useful around the concept of entrepreneurship, to define things a little bit more specifically. Then I'm going to talk about the vision of the world that the entrepreneurial mindset represents. And moving on, finishing with the entrepreneurial skills. And all of that content is really based on my experiences, my personal and professional experiences. I'm going to also give you some examples of the people I've been coaching, so also experiences through my coaching life. So and the point of it is really to give you some inspiration. So I hope that you'll enjoy it and get inspired about what I'm going to be sharing with you. So a little bit more about myself before moving on and diving into this topic of entrepreneurial mindset. So I'm a certified career coach. My specialty is in career coaching, and I love helping business owners and individuals to thrive in their professional and personal life. So I love working with expats. I work with a lot of expats, English speakers and French speakers. I'm from France originally. I live in the UK. And my clients are really from all over the world, which is absolutely amazing. I couldn't be more blessed. So I'm also myself an expat. So I think that's also why I connect with people that are expats themselves that much. I lived in India, I lived in Colombia, I've lived in Spain, and in the UK for a while before I moved back there recently. So it's really something dear to my heart. I couldn't really imagine my life without expatriation at the moment. So a little bit about the way I coach. Maybe what makes me unique, I would say, is that I don't hesitate to wear different hats and use different tools. So I use a lot of coaching, which for me implies discovering my clients' vocations and helping them with their mindsets, really this inner game. I'm also a consultant, so I give also advice regarding, for example, CVs or working on a business plan with some clients, for example. And I also love offering meditation and visualization exercises, which I think is an amazing approach to support the whole process, helping with stress management, mental health issues that are I believe so important in everyone. So this combination really creates everything the person needs to thrive and reach that potential, that full potential. So a little bit about my career. As you can see here, I moved from being a language teacher initially, and this is where I started traveling a lot and working in loads of different countries, teaching languages. Then I settled for a while. I co-founded a bilingual nursery. So that was my first experience as an entrepreneur. So I created completely from scratch a project with 3 other business partners. So there was four of us. And I gained some experience and then realized that what I really wanted to do, what my real vocation was coaching. I wanted to help people in their personal journey. So I decided to change again and to build on my coaching business. So that's why this topic of entrepreneurship really resonates with me, and this is why also I wanted to share about that with you. So let's start, if you don't mind, by some myth busting together. So I'm going to ask you just to maybe consider this question. How could we describe a typical entrepreneur? So the point of that question, if you consider that in your mind, is maybe to discover what would be the typical stereotypes that could be shared among most people around entrepreneurship. So maybe just to consider that. So the replies I usually get around that would be some stereotypes around age. Probably you need to be a bit older, you need to have more experience to be able to be a successful entrepreneur. Some people would say as well that it's more difficult if you're a woman, so easier if you are a man. So these are the typical things that I would hear, especially with my clients when they come to me and they're working, or even just having this idea of the desire of maybe starting their own business. Also some stereotypes around you need to be in the Silicon Valley, for example. So there are maybe places in the world where it's easier to become an entrepreneur rather than others, along with all other also along with gender aspects. You can also have some social background type stereotypes. So if you have to come from a wealthy family, or at least having a little bit of money. And some people would agree that our typical entrepreneur might look like something like this. So maybe an older man, maybe working, with a tie, with maybe a white man, most probably in a rich country. You can see he's in a big room that's just waiting for a lot of people to arrive and listen to him. So again, forgive me, this is just for the point of the exercise of busting those stereotypes. This is not what I believe an entrepreneur should look like, of course, but I think that there's a lot of value in exploring actually seeing those limiting beliefs that we might have around those stereotypes. So again, to inspire you, I'm going to give you a little bit of experience of examples that actually demonstrate and prove these stereotypes wrong. And the first is going to be around age. And I feel really, really inspired about younger entrepreneurs and their achievement in that respect. So this is an example of three of them. I'm going to talk a little bit about the boy in the middle, who created a low-cost braille printer for blind people. So he's done an amazing job, really building things with Legos and a little bit of electronics. And that has been bought by a company in the US. So the point is really for blind people to access a printer for a cheaper price, because at the moment it's a machine that's very, very expensive. So it's really a way to make this type of material more accessible. For started at the age of 12. I'm also very inspired by Boyan Slat, that you've probably heard of, who started the project, the Ocean Cleanup. And he started at the age of 16 and managed to, via crowdfunding, reach more than $2 million. So this is also very a really big invitation, I think, about what we believe is too young or not experienced enough, which I think is also a notion that is interesting to look at. Gender. So of course, gender is also can be a big limit or a big obstacle in some people's mind. And if we look at statistics, we can actually see that yes, it is true, there are less women that are owners of small businesses worldwide. There's about 36% of women that are small business owners in the world. What's interesting to see, though, is like in the last 20 years, women entrepreneur statistics have shown that the amount of female business owners has increased by 114%. So 114% increase of the number of female entrepreneurs. So I think that is really showing that there are room for women, and they are catching up on starting their own business and becoming entrepreneurs, which is really, really inspiring. So sometimes we can have also tendencies of hiding behind some excuses, and those limiting beliefs can also be unconsciously some excuses to not start a project that we'd like to do. I am also very inspired by the work of Ashia Riccio. So I don't know if you've heard of this amazing woman who's working for a project called Evolving Women. She's based in Dubai, and she's also an expat herself. She's an Italian expat, and she's now become an international reference, winning multiple awards for work actually to help women become entrepreneurs and business owners in the Middle East, which is absolutely amazing. And the result that she's getting is actually that 75% of women that are business owner in Dubai are actually running companies that are international. So not only they're managing, but also they are really achieving maybe above average in that region. So that's absolutely amazing. And I'd like also to talk about Dr. Terera Trent. She's the founder of the Trent Foundation in Zimbabwe, and she's one of Oprah's favorite guests, which speaks for itself, doesn't it? She's a humanitarian, motivational speaker, and she's also funded a lot of schools. So she's very active in the educational world, making a big difference, making a big impact. And she's particularly remarkable because also coming from a part of the world that might be seen as as not the easiest place to start to become an entrepreneur. And she certainly didn't have any money in a family, certainly didn't have any education as well when she started. And now she's at the head of this foundation, international reach, about education, when she started with no education and no money at all in a difficult country, also being a woman. Sure, I think she marks quite a lot. She ticks a lot of those criteria in the remarkable way. And she's also from a country that's that struggled a lot in the recent years. So in the other aspects, so about coming from a family of entrepreneurs, that's something that we hear as well a lot. Like, it's easier if you come from a family that's already in the business, that already knows a lot about entrepreneurship and that can teach you. Also, some people have the impression that you should have the gene. If I don't have the gene, then I can't really do it. I can't really become a successful entrepreneur. And that has been proven wrong in so many cases. I mean, in most cases, in most people that I work with, there's nobody around them that is an entrepreneur, nobody in their family, or it wasn't the case, of course, for me either. But it's so funny to see that it actually is very very rare to encounter someone who is himself or herself in a family of entrepreneurs. And as an example, you probably have heard of WhatsApp founder Diane Koum, who was actually an immigrant from Ukraine as well, an expat himself. And when they arrived, they were on social benefits. They have absolutely no money. His mother was a cleaner. His dad never even made it to the US, and he started university quite late. Actually, he started he started his education at 18. He had a really late start, and certainly no one around him to guide him or to teach him those skills. So it's actually an easy one to sort of bust this transmission or genetic aspect around the myths of entrepreneurs. But it's really funny to see how it's still quite strong in people's minds. There's also this belief that you have to be special, you have to be a genius. It's not accessible for me. No, it's not for me. It might work for them, but I'm not special enough. This is something that is quite classic along the limiting beliefs that we can hear. I think it really is along the line of, I'm not good enough, I don't have what it takes. They can, but of course I can't. It's impossible for me. I don't have what they have, etc. And I like to remember as well towards that there are also disabled people that become an entrepreneur. There are people with learning disabilities, among even the famous entrepreneurs like Steve Jobs with dyslexia. We've learned recently on the media that Elon Musk, Tesla and SpaceX project owner, revealed that he has Asperger's syndrome. So even with this, it didn't stop them. It wasn't an obstacle. They still made it, and they still managed to be successful and to do what they love, more importantly. So I really think that everything can actually find its solution, and everything that is perceived as an obstacle might not necessarily be one. So and it's also funny to realize that the statistic and what they've shown about how what it takes to be successful as an entrepreneur has really little to do with all of those myths. It has nothing to do with experience or age or gender, etc., etc. But it's more about a larger sense of skills. So this is why we're going to be talking about that in the last part of this presentation. What is the combination of skills, especially soft skills, that are going to really support and ensure your success as an entrepreneur? So I hope you're looking forward to that part of the talk. And maybe to add on a little bit about my own experience, I think I can also be a proof and also add on to this myth-busting aspect. So as I said, we started absolutely from scratch with 3 business partners of mine to create that bilingual nursery. We invested money, we made a bet, of course, and we calculated the risk as much as we could, but we had no family or friends that were entrepreneurs around us. So we had to create this network to support us and get access to all the information that we needed. So of course, upgrade our skills and learn a lot of things, which is also what I did on a different way to build my coaching business. But it's amazing and absolutely so inspiring for me just to realize for just 1 minute that every skill can be learned. So I think it gives hope for a lot of things, and if I can do it, I can tell you that you can do it as well. Believe me on that. And it's true as well with, of course, with all the people I work with, the people I coach. All of them have limiting beliefs when they arrive and they come to see me. They might not have all of it. I can see them quite strongly, especially in women, I have to say, who want to create their own business. So I work with people that want to create their own business in the wellness industry or hospitality, service, counseling and therapy, for example, but also in all sorts of industries, and not only women, also with men, of course. And it's so interesting because what I've realized that it starts for all of them with this dream, with this vision. And really my invitation to you as well is to try to see that vision first, and not to be too influenced by this little voice that can be the voice of this limiting beliefs around the stereotypes that we've just been mentioning. This voice that's going to be telling you that you are going to fail, that you don't have what it takes. So just assume that this voice is not telling you the truth, really, that you shouldn't be listening to it. And my second invitation would be to see if maybe entrepreneurial skills could be developed by everyone. Do you think that they could be developed by everyone? And you don't even need to be an entrepreneur actually for that. And they are very useful skills. So moving on, we're going to go towards definitions for a little while, which I think is quite useful because it enables to get clarity on what we talk about, which I think is what definitions are here for and why they're useful. And I like how the word entreprendre in French, as you know, I'm from France, so entreprendre is in French really literally means to start something, to take actions, and this is the basic meaning of entreprendre, and I believe of being an entrepreneur. So this action of creating, acting, giving life to ideas, and this idea of innovation as well, which I think is really strong there. So it's closely related to intuition and creativity. And I've realized with experience that if you nurture and cultivate innovation and creativity and intuition, they can really take you beyond limitations, creating then a world full of possibilities and opportunity. So maybe just a quick word on the difference between entrepreneur and entrepreneurship. So an entrepreneur is an individual creating a new business, bearing most of the risks and enjoying most of the rewards. And the process of setting this business is known as entrepreneurship. In the entrepreneur is commonly seen as an innovator, source of new ideas, of new goods, of new services, and business or procedures. And what's quite interesting to see as well is maybe how we could differentiate the different types of entrepreneurs. So I've got a small list here. So there might be more. Not everything could necessarily fit exactly in those boxes, but they give you an outlook on how different it can be for different types of businesses. So you can be a builder type entrepreneur, and the builder seeks to create scalable business within a short time frame. Builders typically pass 5 million revenues the first 2 or 4 years and continue building up, for example, until 100 million, etc. So these are quite different to the opportunist type entrepreneur. They are optimistic individuals with the ability to pick up financial opportunities, getting in at the right time, staying on board during the type of growth, so they're more interested in that growth period, and then exiting when a business it's peak. So this is typically would see a lot of entrepreneurs selling their business quite quickly. So this is very different as well to the innovator entrepreneur. Innovators are rare individuals that come up with a great idea or product that no one has thought of before. Think, for example, of Thomas Edison with his invention. And this individual worked on what they loved, and they found business opportunities through that. So that really the invention or the innovation came first. You have the specialist type entrepreneurs. These individuals are analytical and risk averse, so they might not take as much risk as other type of entrepreneurs. They have a strong skill set in a specific area obtained through education or apprenticeship usually. So this type of entrepreneur will build a business through networking and referrals, maybe in a smaller growth than a builder entrepreneur, for example. So it's really, I really find it interesting to see those different types, and how actually you can also have differences inside the entrepreneur sort of world and model. Types of entrepreneurships. So again, there's going to be also a big influence on depending on the type of entrepreneurship. you'll be working in. You've got small business entrepreneurship. So this is, I guess, the most common, is the idea of opening a business without turning it into a large business and opening many chains, usually with an individual or a small number of individuals, so a smaller group. So this is very common for, and we can see that, encounter that type of business, everywhere in the world. We find as well scalable startups. These are companies that start with a unique idea, with the hopes to innovate, with a unique product or service, and it continuously scaling up as time moves on. So really, this is really this type of entrepreneurship is created with the objective of growing, which is quite different to the small business type work. We've got large company. So large company entrepreneurship is a new business division created within an existing company. So you already have usually a large company existing, and there's like a new branch that's being tried out, for example, and created within this company. Social entrepreneurship. Social entrepreneurship is more oriented towards creating a benefit to society and humankind, focusing on helping communities or the environment through products and services. So those individuals choosing this model are usually not driven by profit, but rather by helping the world around it. So it's really amazing how then the definition of success would be quite different depending on the type of entrepreneur and the type of entrepreneurship you'll encounter yourself in. So, for example, a specialist type entrepreneur with a very specific niche, probably doing, let's imagine doing some social entrepreneurship type model, will have some very different goals and a different approach to things than a builder who's trying to really build up things in a large company type model of entrepreneurship. But what I've found that these individuals can have in common is a vision of the world, and that's what I'd like to share with you now in this first part. So this is where we are, a vision of the world, which I think really sort of creates this baseline, supporting as well for them the way they approach their work and their contribution to the world. So. What is the way to see the world with this vision, with this entrepreneurial vision? So I really like this quote by Michael Bloomberg, who is a former mayor of New York, also one of the richest person in the country, and which is the US. And he said, being an entrepreneur isn't really about starting a business. It's a way of looking at the world, seeing opportunity when others see obstacles, taking risks when others take refuge, which is very inspiring, and also you can see which sort of side of the coin the entrepreneur chooses to look at in this quote. So it's like you have two choices in this vision, in a way. Either you look at opportunities or you look at obstacles. You look at risk or you look at refuge. You look at solutions or you look at problems. And I really like the concept of adventure zone versus comfort zone. So you've all heard of the comfort zone concept, which is sometimes it can be seen as well as a bit negative, of leaving your comfort zone, like you need to step out your comfort zone, which I think in itself, in the very words, can also maybe be a little bit negative. So do I want to leave comfort? I'm not sure I want to leave comfort. Maybe I want to get even more comfort. But when you step into your adventure zone, the vision and the perspective it can give you can be a lot more positive. So I think this is the first invitation of this vision of the world that I I believe, creates an amazing entrepreneurial mindset, which is a vision of the world that's a lot more positive. So it doesn't mean for me ignoring the problems or ignoring the risks and being completely unconscious, but rather than focusing too much maybe on the obstacles and the risks and the problem, looking at the solutions and the opportunities. I really recommend as well the work of Sarah Saraswati, who has been conducting research about the vision of the world of entrepreneurs in Durham School of Business. And what she talks about is really interesting. She mentions that entrepreneurs are action-oriented, and they're not necessarily waiting for the perfect solutions to arise, but they do the doable right now. They keep being active. What can I do now? And it's a very powerful coaching question that I really like and I use very often. What can I do now? Because it's so easy to see all the things that I can't do, all the problems that I'm facing. And if I can focus on what's achievable right now, maybe I can, one step at a time, get a little bit further. And entrepreneurs also see a role for human action, she mentions. So she explains that they see that the future comes from what humans do. They don't necessarily believe in fate or in destiny. They think that we can really create our destiny as humans, and we can have a role to play. What we do matters, and we can make a difference, which I think is a very optimistic. It really gives hope. It's a very hopeful vision, hopeful message to give to the world. And if you don't do anything, then maybe nothing will happen, and the cost of doing nothing can be too high. So I really like that, those two concepts all together. The idea of what can I do now, what can be my little next step just right here, right now, and this idea of, well, it actually is making a difference, even if it looks like a little small step, at least I'm doing all I can. So I think it creates as well for the entrepreneur a sense of being useful, finding meaning or finding purpose in what the person does, and the way it contributes to the world. So this author, Sarah Saraswati, actually talks about a method, like a scientific method and model that could be the entrepreneurial model, which I believe is really interesting. So you can watch her TED talk. She's done a TED talk on that topic that I highly recommend. So now, how do we grow our entrepreneurial skills? For that, what I really like is the model of emotional intelligence and positive intelligence. These two models, I think, really help to structure and to see how you can actually work on yourself to have the best impact in the world, I believe. And I like how it starts with self-awareness. So self-awareness is really the first game, the first step of the way. This is about this inner game, me and myself. So how can I reflect in what I do, and why do I do what I do, etc. Then I can move on and work on my self-management skills. Then I need to, I open my eyes, I look around me, and can I have some social awareness? Can I understand my environment and the world that I evolve in? And then only then can I focus on relationship management and how I interact in the world in the bigger scale. And we tend to focus sometimes too much on the later steps without having worked enough on the first steps. And really, the mindset, the inner game, is in my experience is the first. You have to start there. You have to have that strong base, that inner stability, that inner balance to be able to grow those other skills. So you'll see how those different skills that I'm going to talk about can relate to that model. But to be a bit more specific about entrepreneurial skills, I would say money mindset is a very important skill to improve. And as a coach, I've realized that we all have, and that's absolutely normal. money mindset work to do about what's our relationship with money, how we consider money, what limiting beliefs we can have grown and installed around money because of our environment, because of our parents, sometimes the country we've grown up in. There can be different reasons, but they are really interesting to consider, and it's also about having the awareness, so what is there actually creating those obstacles in me about, for example, the money mindset. It can be about different things, but usually it's like revealing something is the first step for it to go away. It's like snow that melts in the sun, really, the awareness. And this is why this is the first step in the model, the self-awareness. It starts with this, and really freeing this money mindset can enable to, you've probably heard that before, can invite some abundance in your life, have some flow coming in and coming out, around the idea of value as well. That's what money brings in nowadays world. Money creates value in your life. You get money from the work that you do, so it brings value to you. You exchange some value in a way. I give things to you with my service, with my product as an entrepreneur, and I receive some value back. So it's really interesting to look at that. I like as well how the entrepreneurs have this analysis and this understanding, which is usually connected to the big picture, to the perspective, the ability to research things as well, to analyze data, and this is also via connecting with people, exchanging knowledge, and this vision as well of society and yourself. So this is really connected to this social awareness and this interpersonal skills, which I believe are really important. And my following point is about relationships and networking, because of course this is also sometimes something that people can think about. Entrepreneurs, they're alone in their business, they're alone in what they do. No, they couldn't be successful if they were. It's really crucial to have partners, sometimes employees, of course, usually clients, people you network with. It's continuous, actually, connections and contacts. I like actually these distinctions between contact and connection. I believe that you can keep at the contact level, and you don't make a lot of people if you have a lot of contacts, But if you have a lot of connections, it can bring you a lot more, and it can help you actually to access more knowledge, to access maybe some more opportunities, and this communication can really make a lot more sense, because a lot more is exchanged. And going back maybe to this idea of value, giving and receiving via these relationships and networking. So I absolutely love that, and this is very crucial for me in my vision of entrepreneurship. Is how actually an entrepreneur is connected to the world around him or her in different ways. So communication and presentation skills are very, very important. So not only in the sense that the entrepreneur is able to come across a great message, and creating videos, etc., do some personal branding, but also in the way that the person is able to listen, and active listening, and creating empathy. So this is the fourth aspect of emotional intelligence, is this relationship management aspect, which is also connected to communication. Innovation and creativity, very important, of course, which I would say is also a connection to intuition that we mentioned before, connection to deep desires, and this is very, very key for me also in this entrepreneurial mindset, It's also to be daring, going back to this idea of vision, and also a big dream, following your heart in a way that can be very daring, it can be very ambitious. And I like Mark Twain's quote that says, they didn't know it was possible, so they did it. They didn't know it was possible, so they did it. I think that's very, very inspirational. And the that's what is even more scary sometimes than actually trying is the regret of not having tried. Is the regret of not having taken that step. So it's always worth trying. And then when we try, we might need some resilience, because it might not always work, which is also part of the process, isn't it? And resilience for me, for an entrepreneur, is also about how to build and change your relationship with mistakes and failures. You have to be ready to fail. I mean, we all know that in life. It's not only for the entrepreneurs, but in life in general. I believe we should be taught in school about mistakes, about actually how to learn from those mistakes, how to transform them into a growth opportunity. This is what mistakes are for me, a growth opportunity. So again, the entrepreneur will see the opportunity into that. I love the concept of excellent mistake. I don't know if you've heard of that, but it's really great, because it's the only way you're going to learn. If you go out there and you try, this is the only way you're gonna learn. And so making an excellent mistake maybe is going to take you so much further than not doing anything at all, or taking little risk in the first time. It's only the ego that takes it personally, and we all have it, of course. It's also normal. So it's a learning curve in that, and I think that's what resilience in that case would be, an invitation to change your relationship with that. So I just want to take just a minute to congratulate you for every mistake that you've made previously, and all the mistakes that you will be doing in the past, and well done for this amazing learning opportunity. And then it's great as well, isn't it, like to maybe have a different perspective, and not only considering our big wins and successes, but maybe seeing where we've done all that what we've done in a different light. So this is also maybe another invitation in here for me. Making difficult decisions as well, of course, can be one thing to be doing, and fear and doubt can bring a lot of limitations and obstacles, which is very interesting, because usually what we are afraid of is fear itself, and it goes back to this concept of fear of failure. So very connected to the limiting beliefs that we mentioned. It's natural, it's human. Again, don't believe this voice in your head. And the best way out, in my experience, is to talk to people, to connect with your network, with like-minded people who will help you to see that fear and to see that limiting belief. Again, when I can see it really helps. It's really 50% of the job. So reach out to a peer, especially if you're struggling with something with your business as an entrepreneur. Reach out to someone that's going to be able to tell you, okay, in here you're just having a limiting belief moment. No worries, because usually we doubt ourselves for things that are not necessarily true. Like, oh, I don't think I have what it takes. I don't think I'm good enough. No, you are, and the other person can actually give you examples and prove you wrong in that moment, which really helps. So instead of staying on your own and maybe going around in circles with the idea of getting stuck with it, just ask for help, ask for someone else's perspective. And I've been absolutely amazed, and it's been also my clients' experience, like how much support and actually how much honesty you would get in some networking groups with other entrepreneurs of your industry. It's even better, so you can share also advices and things like that. How much advice you would get, how much vulnerable people are willing to, not only showing the shiniest parts of what they do, but actually also saying, okay, do you know what, I've been struggling there. So that's it shows that it's something that everyone has as well, which is reassuring. Okay, and the last point there will be change management. So change management, again, for me, is connected to adaptability. The world keeps changing all the time. It's unpredictable. It has been, particularly those past 2 years, and resisting it is, of course, a waste of energy. It is happening, you know. Again, looking at what I can do can be a great way, a great entrepreneurial way. What can I do? It's happening. It's there. I accept it. What can I do? And for that, really, for me, what's been a great inspiration is the Serenity Prayer. That's, again, a lot of people know about, but it really, for me, it's packed with a lot of great reminders. So it goes like that. So grant me the serenity to accept the things that I cannot change. So grant me the serenity for acceptation. Really, this is the first line of the little quote. The courage to change the things that I can. So again, like an entrepreneur, it's about taking actions and not being like there and seeing the world and say, oh yeah, well, I can't do much, can I? So what can you do? How can you take action? And the wisdom to know the difference. And this is where, as well, it's this quote is so full and balanced, because it's not always easy to have that wisdom and to know what the difference is between what I can change and what I cannot change. And for me, the best way to see that is also to get perspective. There's so much limitation to being on one's own, and this is due, of course, of the ego, because everyone has got an ego that's blurring things for you, that's filtering sometimes reality, and not enabling you to see always clearly, which is normal. And this is why, as well, the inner game is so important first, and this is why it comes first, in my opinion. And the perspective of the others are here for that, to help you see clear, actually, to help you develop this wisdom, and to be able to develop it for yourself, of course, more and more. The point is not to be dependent on people, for sure. And also, the change management is also a great invitation to keep learning, to keep changing, and true change happens through learning, and true learning is change. I really like this connection between learning and change. So, as a conclusion, I want to invite you to be the entrepreneur of your life. Be the entrepreneur of your business as well, if you have a business. Don't forget that one. But it's really connected to as well what Bill Roche has been developing also in a TED Talk. So it's a TED Talk that he's been doing in 2018 that I highly recommend as well. He's been working with schools with kids from the age of 11 he's been developing an entrepreneurial mindset program, giving actually those kids money and helping them learning skills on how to become an entrepreneur. And they've been creating their own business actually from a very young age. And those projects have been ongoing, in a year or 2 years in some different schools. And the change that he's been witnessing is absolutely amazing. Bringing those kids a lot of meaning and purpose, even those who had learning problems and were not really, bothered. Like at the beginning of the year when he arrives, they're like, yeah, no, I'm not really listening. I'm the bad kid in the class and so on. And it's really given them access to a different perspective, and finding a purpose, really finding a way to be useful, learning creativity, critical thinking, problem solving, helping them with communication, and giving them also a good reason to do all that, something a bit more maybe palpable, something a bit more real, a real hands-on project to contribute to the world. So I think it's a great invitation as well, because if kids can learn that, you know, it means we all can. We all can, even if we don't all want to become entrepreneurs, which is absolutely fine. So so I would say be the subject, the actor, the hero, the main character, the entrepreneur of your own life, doing it fully, you know, taking actions and taking advantage of everything that you can, which would be the opposite for me of being passive, which usually doesn't bring a lot of happiness into life. And that's consistent, you know, whether you're a student, you're retired, you're employed, you're freelance, you're entrepreneur. For me, it's more like a way to live, a way to embrace how everyone is unique, as this unique flavor, and it's believing that the world is really actually hungry for this particular flavor, and also believing that everything is possible. So embracing this mindset, this vision of the world, give it a chance and see maybe what happens for you. You know, don't believe me for what I say, but go on and trying, you know, experiment it and see how it goes. Learn, grow, evolve, and succeed, and think about maybe what's your definition of success. You know, what is success for you? Because we all have our own definition, and what we want to achieve can be connected to that. I wanted to finish with this quote: "Whether you think you can or you can't, you're right," by Henry Ford, which is again a great reminder of how strong our beliefs and our mindset and how much influence it can have. It's like a self-fulfilling prophecy, really, and I don't want you to feel bad about it. And this is, you know, like, because we all start from there. We all have that at the beginning. This is a normal process that happens with the creation of ego in our personal development, and it is absolutely normal. But we can do something about it. So see it as an invitation to maybe see how you can change this in a game. How you can overcome those limiting beliefs. It takes consistency. It takes some time, but it can be simple, and it can really free your potential. So start with yourself. Start inward this inner game. So I hope that this talk brought to you some inspiration, and that you've got some value, and you got some value from that. I'd love to hear from you. I'd love to have a chat. If you're up for it, and discover what you have discovered about entrepreneurship yourself, or about all the things that we've discussed about mindset or anything. So you've got all my contacts. They've been also put down in the chat box. You can send me an email. You can connect on LinkedIn. It'll be a real pleasure. And I always do a discovery session. So we can also have an informal chat if you're not really looking for a session specifically. It's just always great to connect. So thank you so much for your attention. Thank you so much, Wissam Ayed, for hosting and co-hosting me. It's been so amazing and so exciting, and I'm really looking forward to your comments and questions or share of experiences, which is always as well amazing, you know, to keep on learning and to keep on having new perspectives on things.